here. My name is Brandon Strout. I'm the Assistant Chief of Police here at Morgan Police Department. I'm going to provide some information. I've prepared some bullet points to share as far as where we're at in our investigation into the pursuit and subsequent shooting at the sheriff's vehicle yesterday, and then I will be able to take some questions. To recap, yesterday about 3:30 in the afternoon, a vehicle that was being sought in connection with an unrelated shooting was spotted. The sheriff attempted to stop that vehicle and a pursuit ensued. Multiple units engaged, and during that pursuit, the suspect that was driving the vehicle began to fire rounds at the pursuing vehicles. Multiple rounds were fired from a pistol. We have evidence that we are processing, and I'll touch on that in a moment. Due to the danger that we felt was posed to the public, as well as obviously our first responders, we created some distance between ourselves and the suspect vehicle. The suspect was driving erratically at high speeds and firing rounds on public streets. Again, given that information, the decision was made by the sheriff to back off. We support that decision. We absolutely believe it was the right decision. The public safety of our citizens is paramount, and we are not going to pursue to the point that somebody else gets injured or killed. The vehicle was lost briefly because of the fact that we had to back off and was found abandoned. We conducted a search of the area. We set up a perimeter. Unfortunately, Mr. Garza had already slipped through that perimeter. Our investigators have processed that vehicle. We have collected evidence. Due to the nature of the ongoing investigation, I will not go into details on what evidence we've collected or processed. From there, we set up back here at the police department. We got a plan in action, and we requested assistance based on some tips that we felt were credible from where they were coming in. We received multiple tips that were supported from various sources, and we had 2 locations that we felt were worth checking into. As a result, we requested assistance from Randall County, from their tactical unit. They came in, they were briefed, and they brought in additional resources from Texas DPS Special Response Team. They coordinated together and they searched 2 locations here in Borger that we, at the time, believed that he had been tied to. Unfortunately, he was not there when we went and checked them. This morning, about 6 o'clock, some of those resources had to kind of rehab and have some downtime. Our patrol units continued to run down leads, and they have been all day. In fact, we have units out as we speak, following up leads and tips that we are having come in. To reiterate, one thing we want to make sure that is clear, we are still seeking Christopher Garza in this shooting. We do have an active arrest warrant for him on a first-degree felony offense. We do still believe he is armed and dangerous. Ultimately, we want a peaceful resolution. We would like Mr. Garza to turn himself in and for us to be able to take him into custody. We do not want anybody else put in danger, and we would like to resolve this in a peaceful manner. Questions?
Can you talk about his criminal history?
Not specifically. I don't have his entire criminal history in front of me. That would be, it's public record if you wanted to request that, from the court. Of course, it's available. I can say that he does have a criminal history. Again, the extent of it or the offenses, I don't have it in front of me.
Can you tell us where those 2 locations were, like a relative's home or?
No. I just for the privacy of the individuals, it is unfortunate that he wasn't there at the time, and out of respect to those individuals, I don't want to say specifically where those were. I know it's been put on social media. The day and age we live in, that stuff is out there, but just, again, out of respect for the people that own those homes and reside in those homes, I don't want to go into any details on that right now.
What about surrounding cities? Should Amarillo be worried that Garza went there, or do you believe that he's still here in Borger?
I wouldn't say worried. I think everybody should be vigilant. Everybody should be aware. We've had his picture out on the social media, on traditional media, both news and broadcast. If you see him, call us. We don't have any reason to believe that he has or has not left the city of Borger. So we have notified our surrounding areas through our information system statewide. And so if anyone sees him or believes they see him, call your local law enforcement, and we'll follow up on those leads.
What number is that, sir?
The phone number for Borger Dispatch is 806-273-0930. If you live outside the area and you believe you see him, call your local law enforcement or 911.
Has the Border PD ever worked with this suspect before? Not worked with, but has he been an issue for y'all before?
We have had cases involving Mr. Garcia, yes.
Is he from Border?
I believe that, I don't know if he's born and raised here, but he has resided here for quite some time.
Can you speak to the case that Garza was pulled over for, or what that was in relation to?
Because it's an ongoing case, I can't go into too many details. As was mentioned yesterday by the sheriff, it was a shooting. Again, it was non-life-threatening. There was an injury sustained. So we are working that. He, again, was a person of interest, not necessarily the suspect, but someone we wanted to speak with. Again, because it's an ongoing investigation, I don't want to get into details of anything more than that.
And are you able to tell us how the different groups are coming together? We've heard something about tracing cell phones of his and his girlfriend. Could you just talk about, I know you can't give.
Yeah, I can give some vague, like I said, we have used various avenues. We have resources available. Again, because it's an ongoing investigation, I won't go into too much depth about the technology that's available, about how we verify resources or sources, information. But yes, we have used some various forms of technology to try to pin down where this individual may be. We try to vet all of our tips that come in. The sheriff himself has been actively speaking to members of the community, receiving tips, as has our dispatch and our officers. And we've been working throughout the day, myself and the sheriff, sharing that information and keeping each other apprised. Again, trying to have a peaceful resolution.
Was the warrant issued through Border PD or just the county sheriff's office?
It was issued through Border PD. We are the lead investigating agency on it because the sheriff, in addition to being involved in the pursuit, is the victim of an aggravated assault of a public servant. As a result, we are handling the criminal investigation. Of course, they're by no means out of it. We're working together, again, actively seeking for resolution, but we are handling the criminal portion.